Welcome to the spiritual download. Today we're looking at nature herself is our guru, or can be a guru, with the example of Sri Dattatreya, who we'll be speaking about today. So who is Sri Dattatreya? Is an avatar. So what is an avatar? So an avatar is a god, goddess, a deity, or an enlightened being at a higher realm of consciousness who can incarnate into a human body, or some sort of biological form, and that biology itself, every cell in that body is actually in an awakened state. Not just the mind. The consciousness is just not just mind. It's also biology. It's also the substratum of everything, including body, mind, soul, etc. So Sri Dattatreya is the avatar of the tripartite, which is known as Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, kind of the trinity of Hinduism. They are depicted, and I use the word they because Hindu gods and goddesses often don't have, when they are incarnated or when they're depicted, don't have necessarily a gender, or are both genders or neither genders. So I'm going to use the gender neutral term they. Depicted with 3 heads and 6 arms, to represent Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, and often surrounded by many plants and animals, to have kind of a natural depiction, a yogi lifestyle, because they are known as the Lord of Yoga, one of the lords of yoga. And of course, yoga is not just asanas, not just physical positions, but yoga itself is a path to enlightenment. And Sri Dattatreya, being a high deity, a being in a high state of consciousness, can incarnate into a human body. And there's evidence that Sai Baba was an avatar or an incarnate of Sri Dattatreya. The lineage, kind of like a lineage of bodies and body minds who have been Sri Dattatreya through history. Sai Baba died in 1918, or left that body in 1918. Here's some pictures of Sai Baba. Again, himself almost viewed godlike, but also an actual human being, albeit a great being as well. Revealed knowledge. So what's the difference between human knowledge and revealed knowledge? So we have here Sri Dattatreya gained awakening by observing nature, and did not gain awakening through mental knowledge from a guru. So there's a huge difference between kind of like downloaded information from the universe, or from nature, versus learning about this knowledge from a teacher, or even a guru, uh, but especially like a philosophy teacher or something like that. That's mental knowledge. Human knowledge, we mean revealed knowledge from the universe. Therefore, nature was their guru. Nature herself was their guru, learning from plants, animals, the cycles of nature, and even from seeing human beings as a part of nature as well. You'll see that some of these gurus were human characters. And why is this important? The first that you can see here is because it has to do with your awakening. So learning that you become awakened. It's nature herself teaching you your awakening. Okay, and also here you can't see it, unfortunately, but also sustainability, the issue of ecology. Right now, we're living in climate change. So the idea that nature, and respecting and seeing God as a guru, or sorry, nature as a guru, or nature as God, can really be a humbling experience, and seeing that what I thought was inanimate, like plants and rocks, all of a sudden becomes alive. Not just that, it becomes your teacher. It's a beautiful process. So this is a little bit of an academic philosophical source as well. So here are my sources for this lecture. So the first god, or the first guru, is Mother Earth. And seeing that Earth, yes, is just another planet, but also, it's our home. This is our home. The Earth is steadfast. So I'm going to be reading here. What can we learn? What can we actually learn from these people, or these gurus? The Earth is steadfast in its duties and steady in its cycles. The Earth teaches forbearance, to remain undisturbed, even while oppressed. In general, it accepts the injuries done by humans and continues to provide crops, etc., to the best of its ability. A sober person should understand that his or her aggressors are acting helplessly under the control of God, and thus should never be distracted from progress on his or her own path. Hence, the earth teaches Dharma. Dharma means the path, the value of steadfast perseverance on the path of duty, equipoise, and forgiveness. Next guru is the wind, a silent wind. The wind passes through the world like truth, unchanged and unattached. Equally like truth, it has the capacity to disturb as it swirls about the objects of the material world. When the wind blows in many directions at once, the atmosphere becomes agitated. Similarly, if the mind is constantly attracted and repelled by material objects, it will be impossible to think of the absolute truth. Therefore, the wind teaches the value of freedom and of staying clear of worldly disturbances. Next, we have the sky, the vast, spacious sky. It has clouds and storms sometimes, but the nature of sky is to be limitless and ever present. The sky teaches that the self, like the sky, has no boundaries and is beyond the reach of material nature. It just spreads out to space. Sometimes clouds cover the sky, but the sky above is unaffected. When the mind is spotlessly clear, like a cloudless blue sky, one can see the actual form of the personality of the Godhead. Sri Dattatreya adds, know all objects of material perception to be empty, just like space. Know the pure One as neither bound nor free. The nectar of knowledge, undifferentiated like the sky. The fragmentary self, trapped in materiality, awaits reunion with the universal self. The boundless sky is an eternal reminder of this essential unity. Next, we have the great guru of water. The waters serve all without pride, purify those who bathe. They preserve and give life, which is why the Vedas speak of them as the god Narayana Vishnu. Just as pure water is transparent, a saintly person transparently manifests the personality of Godhead. Pure and holy people are like the sacred Ganga, or the Ganges, which purifies by sight, contact, and praise. The lesson is that purification comes from association with purity. Next, we have fire. Fire purifies what it consumes, and its qualities are not sullied by contact with the material world. I am the fire that burns the sins of the sinless. The knowledge of a teacher is also like fire, which lies latent in the fuel like the supreme in all creation, and blazes to life when conditions are right for the purification of the world. Next, we have moon, sister moon. The moon waxes and wanes, but remains unchanged. There's only There is only one moon, no matter how many names its different phases receive. The world tends to hide single truths beneath a welter of discrete names. But when intelligence is thus divided, it ceases to be all-comprehending. Of course, the teaching also refers to metempsychosis, which is the belief that, like the moon, the soul is a continuous reality, although material bodies appear and disappear constantly through birth, death, and reincarnation. We have the sun. The sun is reflected in a million puddles. Each reflection seems different, but it's the same sun. Equally, the spirit seems to be contained within different bodies, but in reality is the same in all. One's self is constant, a fragment of the greater self with a capital S, that answers to many names and is deluded into thinking it is different. In fact, nature and spirit have the same essence, the all-encompassing Brahman Vishnu. The sun's second lesson is that while it drives the hydrological water cycle, the climate, and the entire biosphere, releasing its gifts to the needy at the proper time, it does not do this for personal gain. Python. A python eats whatever comes its way and is satisfied. Its teachings is not to run in pursuit of worldly things, but to limit desires and learn to accept what life brings. As you can tell with the numbers, I didn't do all 24. There are 24 gurus, and you can see that at the source that will have linked below of this video. So number 10, we have the bumblebee. The bee actively seeks material benefits in the world. However, it does not, excuse me, however, it does this with discretion, taking only what it needs from each flower. It collects food from all flowers, high and low, large and small, as a scholar should seek wisdom from a range of scriptural authorities. The ocean. The ocean, like the Supreme, is limitless, timeless, and lucid at the surface, yet so deep that nothing disturbs its lower waters. It receives a million rivers, yet remains unchanged. Equally, the wise should seek equipoise, be absorbed by the ocean of Godhead, and remain unperturbed by the river-like inputs of the senses. Fish. The fish rushes to its death, lured by greed, the bait of food. One of my favorites. Just enjoying the innocent smiles and laughter of children. The child lives in innocent bliss. Of course, both the fool and the devotee may be said to be peaceful. They are free from the ordinary anxiety of the materially ambitious. But a fool's peace is like dead stone, whereas a devotee's satisfaction is based on perfect knowledge. Be a child, curious, innocent, and blissful. Spiders. The spider builds a beautiful web, and then, a day or two later, consumes and destroys that same web. So the Supreme exudes each material universe, and after a while draws it back into the Self. The Supreme Self has no desires, and is beyond the reach of cause and effect and karma. However, people make webs from their own ideas and become entangled in them, so the wise abandon all worldly thoughts. Last but not least, the guru of the caterpillar. A caterpillar sets out in a tiny nest, but ultimately becomes a beautiful butterfly. Long journeys start small. A student starts out insignificant, but ultimately becomes a spiritual master. That was our last guru. So that ends the video. I appreciate you guys watching, and there's lots of things that we can learn from nature. So go outside, breathe in the fresh air, and enjoy the peaceful, loving consciousness of nature herself. Thank you.